When we need a burst of energy to get through a particularly taxing period, like a long ride or a study session, many of us go for a can of Red Bull. But have you ever given any thought to the origins of Red Bull? Alternatively, what's inside the tin? Or that the bulls depicted on the can's front are wild Gore Indian bison, a kind of cattle native to Southeast Asia that is the largest in the world. From a duck farmer and possibly a convicted criminal, one of the names of the most recognizable sports today emerged. The origins and development of Red Bull are explained in this video. So, let's get started. But before we do, if you are interested in more Businesses Explained, subscribe for new videos every week. Creating Dang. First things first, let's talk about Red Bull. The beverage many of us are familiar with and enjoy was not a recent creation. Before getting into the Red Bull beast, it is vital to examine where it came from. The original product was called Creating Dang, and it was introduced in Thailand in 1976 by a Chinese businessman named Chilio Uvidaya. The innovator Chilio was the son of impoverished Chinese immigrants who lived in rural Thailand and bred ducks as a source of income. After relocating to Bangkok in the 1950s to sell pharmaceuticals, Chilio ultimately established his own antibiotic production company in 1956 under the name TCP Pharmaceuticals. After working in the pharmaceutical industry for 20 years, he began to recognize a pattern connected to the industrialization process in Thailand, which led people to look for energy drinks to become more productive and work for more extended periods. In 1976, Chilio believed that there was only one big competition, a drink from Japan called Lipovitan. With this Japanese competition in mind, Chilio made his beverage, which he called Creating Dang, which translates to Red Bull. After observing the success of Lipovitan and deciding to alter the recipe to create a sweeter version of the syrup, he named his beverage after the popular energy drink we know today. And let's be honest, everyone knows Red Bull. Red Bull marketing tactics. His marketing plan was straightforward. He began by concentrating on the rural areas of Thailand rather than the major cities where the company's rivals were located. The adoption of a logo showing two bison rushing together at the same time corresponded with the rise in the popularity of bullfights in rural areas. Within just 2 years, the brand and marketing of Creating Dang had propelled it to be the energy drink with the highest sales in the country. Truckers were among the first persons to truly expand the drink's popularity, and Dang was able to assist farmers in rural areas in shifting to more urban jobs during industrialization. After that, he started pushing the energy drink to fans of Muay Thai, and shortly after, the brand drink became connected with the sport since Creating Dang sponsored high-profile fighters and tournaments. Mr. Red Bull. Dietrich Mateschitz, sometimes known as Mr. Red Bull, is the one who was responsible for transforming the company into a global giant. The company's relationship with sports continues to this day. During this period, Chilio's company, TC Pharmaceuticals, was actively involved in importing items from a German maker of toothpaste known as Blendax. But when the director of marketing at Blendax, Dietrich Mateschitz, found out that a bottle of Creating Dang cured his jet lag, he sought out Chilio to strike a deal to bring this drink to the Western world through another corporation that they eventually established in 1984, called Red Bull GmbH. They kept a lot of the main ingredients and flavors, but they made the drastic change of carbonating the drink to make the taste more appealing, and adding fizz to it also set it up for an alcoholic mixer that many of us will have used today. Most of you have probably heard of the combination of vodka Red Bull and had it. Although they changed the name to Red Bull, which was deemed more suitable for a Western world of English speakers, they kept many of the main ingredients and flavors. They got rid of the bottles that looked like medicine and replaced them with silver and blue cans. Additionally, they shifted their target demographic from people with low incomes to new money partygoers and adventure seekers. However, back when they were first introduced, there was neither a need nor a market for energy drinks in Europe. This presented a challenge for the company. The people had no idea what they were missing out on in reality. The government of Austria was likewise quite concerned about the possibility of its citizens developing an addiction to taurine or caffeine. Remember that in Asia, these beverages were sold in pharmacies, almost like medicines. Therefore, Red Bull had to pass a substantial number of scientific tests before the cans could be sold in stores. This is something that we must keep in mind, but it is safe to say that they have passed the tests. 3 years later, in 1987, Red Bull could begin marketing its product after waiting until its construction was finished. However, they also experienced significant issues with bottling their drinks, resulting in many Austrian businesses refusing to collaborate with Red Bull. The cans of Red Bull. We owe a debt of gratitude to Roche in Austria, the world's largest manufacturer of cans and containers, for giving birth to the can we all know and love today. After that, Medischitz ran into an issue with the flavor. In Asia, energy drinks didn't have much fizz, so they tasted more like cough syrup than soda. This is why Red Bull decided to carbonate its product. Despite the change, it still had trouble selling its product because there wasn't enough demand. It wasn't until clubgoers began pushing Red Bull as an alcoholic mixer to drink at parties and clubs to give people the energy they needed to dance the night away that Red Bull became popular in these settings. The demand for Red Bull finally caught up with the available supply, resulting in creating a market for the product. Rapid success of Red Bull. Over 1 million cans of Red Bull were sold in just the first year of the company's existence. And just 2 years later, it was projected that Red Bull was selling 1 million cans every single day. Throughout the 1990s, Red Bull maintained its rapid expansion and evolved into a status symbol emphasizing various sporting events, including ice skating, football, and Formula One racing. Red Bull turned out to be successful, with the company that Chelio and Medischitz founded selling tens of billions of cans to date and holding a 43% market share in the United States. By 1999, the Red Bull had annual sales of 1.3 billion USD. Despite Red Bull's success and rapid prominence, the company had been the subject of many complaints and horror stories. Caffeine levels in Red Bull caused concern in France in 2004, leading to a complete ban in 2008. Many countries have followed Lithuania's lead and passed legislation prohibiting the sale of caffeinated beverages to people under 16. They were also faced with copycat cases. In 2013, while still buzzed on its product, Red Bull sued a little brewery in Norwich called Redwell Brewing over its confusingly similar name brand. The drink that gives you wings. These tales are getting better and better, but we're saving the best for last. The brand Red Bull has an international reach. The corporation is best known as a sporting success, even though it produces beverages. The list of Red Bull sponsored events is endless. Red Bull Flugtag, Red Bull Air Race, Red Bull Cliff Diving, Red Bull Crashing Ice, and countless others. And of course, the Red Bull Formula One racing team that has achieved great success cannot be forgotten. Their extreme alias has helped the brand creating an excellent reputation that competes favorably for Red Bull with other sporting competitors. It's no wonder that Red Bull is one of the largest beverage makers in the world, with huge margins, given that the production cost of a single can of Red Bull is only roughly 10 cents. As their tagline proclaims, Red Bull gives you wings. The company has taken flight. So, this was the story of Red Bull. What are your views? Tell us in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you liked the video and give it a thumbs up. Thanks, and see you at the next Business Explained.